guys, welcome back to a new season of Believe in Eagles presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, Lee Mayock, and we've got a lot to get into. It's the final week of Eagles camp. Vic Fangio's cornerback rotation is still pretty undecided. Tyler Steen is looking like a stud at guard, and there's a new look to the Eagles wideout room with the addition of John Metchie. Plus, Malcolm Jenkins is going into the Hall of Fame. That's exciting. And FanDuel actually has the Birds in a three-way tie for the Super Bowl contenders for this year, which some people might like, but it does stress me out. We'll get into all of that and more. But first, I must introduce our guest, Believe in Eagles' favorite guest, my dad, Mike Mayock. How are you, Dad?
I'm good, Lee. What's happening?
Have you missed doing this pod?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
This hiatus has been actually kind of invigorating.
Why? What have you been doing?
Playing some golf, working out,
What's your workout of choice these days?
What's that?
What's your workout of choice these days?
Well, because I have so many body part replacements, I'm limited. So basically, I've got 2 knee replacements, a hip replacement. They want to take my shoulder, which I won't let them get.
Wait, they want to do do they do real full shoulder replacements?
They do, and I don't know where I fit in yet on the scale. All I know is I can't reach more than about here, and anything out in here is painful. So I do sets of like 60 push-ups, and I do about 400 or 500 reps of crunches and stuff for my core, which I think really has helped my lower back. The hip replacement and all the work I do on my core, my back is hurt less. So that's a lot more than you really wanted, I think. I
honestly just wanted to let the people know what kind of workout you're into lately, but thank you for your injury report.
You're very welcome. It's been mostly actually core and aerobic. How about that?
Core and aerobic. All right.
There you go.
Maybe we'll get into details later. But that also injury report, did you see there's a couple injuries at Eagles camp today?
No, I did not see that.
Okay, well, I'll fill you in on those too. But also, here's the thing. Everyone's asking me this. I feel like when we started this pod, everyone was asking me what you were doing for the season, like where they could watch you. And I'm still getting that. What are you doing this season? Like, what are you working on? Where can people find you? Because it's literally my number one question everywhere.
I still do select games on Westwood One Radio.
Do you know your slate of games yet?
It gets back-ended, and I'll usually end up doing 8 to 10 games. I'll do 2 playoff games in January. I mean, last year I think I did 10 games. I think 8 of them were in December and January, including 1 college game, Army-Navy. So it's September and October are really light, which give me a chance to do what else I do, which is watch tape for Sumer Sports. And this year I'm going to be doing pre and post game for the Philadelphia Eagles on local NBC Sports. So
everybody's going to be so excited. Okay,
well, I don't even know if I should have said that. I haven't signed anything yet, but
well, I'll edit it out if you make me, but can we just try it and we'll apologize after? What are they supposed to say? What's that saying?
You're gonna break news here, Lee? Is that
breaking news? Dad's doing what'd you say? Pre and post game on NBC Sports for the Eagles games?
Yeah, only the ones that I'm available for, which will hopefully be about 10 of the first 11 or so.
Wait, that's so fun. Where does that take place? The stadium?
It's at the what I call the Spectrum, which is now Wells Fargo Arena.
Oh, like where the Flyers play?
Flyers, yeah. There's studios. Studios are built in there. That's where Michael Barkan does like the Phillies broadcast, and they do all the other ones.
Oh my gosh, Dad, you're going to be an Eagles insider again.
You think?
Wow. Are you going to make me pay you more for this pod now because you're going to know so much more?
Yeah, you really are going to have to double down.
Well, okay, that's exciting. The people will be very happy. And I feel like you'll be in the mix again and you'll like that.
What I like is potentially I might be able to sneak across the street and get on the field early and spend an hour or so on the field just kind of talking to people from both teams and trying to get a feel for the game, because that's what I love. I love smelling the grass and talking to the coaches.
Have you been to camp at all this year?
I was at the Eagles' first padded practice. I was at the Ravens and an Indy joint practice. I was supposed to go to Washington and Baltimore on Thursday, but they canceled that because both teams have too many injuries. So
wait, is that a new thing? Because the Rams canceled their joint practice like last week because of too many injuries. I've never heard of that before. Is that a thing or what's going on?
It happens. It's happened occasionally in the past. And what's kind of crazy that people don't understand is that like everybody thinks it's this new thing, these joint practices.
No, not joint practice. I was going to say like me. No.
Joint. Everybody thinks joint practices are fairly new.
Mm-hmm.
And, it goes back into like the 1960s and 70s when they had 3 or 4 teams practicing in the Midwest and they would compete. It was Green Bay would go see Minnesota, even though they were in the same division, it was just a way to get ready for the season. I remember when I was first getting into broadcasting years ago, I went up to New England and I watched Tom Brady on one field and Drew Brees on the other. And they're working against the respective defenses of the other teams. Mm-hmm. And it was the cleanest, best joint practice I ever saw. And I remember Sean Payton and Bill Belichick drilling into their guys. If you fight, you're gone. You need to respect me. You need to respect yourself. And you better not fight. And it was such a clean, good practice. It was awesome.
So it was the opposite of, what was it, Raiders? What was the one in like the joint practice you had with Raiders and you like broke your foot trying to
I didn't break
up a fight.
I didn't do anything I didn't do anything. But
you tried to break up a fight though, is what I'm saying.
No,
you put yourself in the middle.
It was the Raiders and the Rams. I happened to be fairly close to it, and I was trying to make sure Max Crosby didn't get hurt. And I just tried to pull Max out of there, and he started laughing when he saw me.
That broke it up. He's cracking up. This frail old man's trying to break up the fight.
Yeah, he kind of just started laughing. He's like, "What are you doing here?"
That is one way to diffuse the situation, though.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Okay, so there were actually some injuries today, though, at Eagles camp. Johnny Wilson was carted off. A leg injury. I think an offensive lineman rolled up on him or something like that. Yeah. And then Andrew Makuba tried to play through a hamstring, and he had to go to the trainer. Are these injuries like? Why am I hearing so many more? Is it just because of oversaturation of news that I'm hearing so many injuries, or what's going on?
The Makuba thing worries me because he's a small-framed.
Wait,
player.
Dad, you're not gonna. I'm gonna ask you to hold on 1 second because, Lucy the dog is scratching at the door.
Okay.
Come here. Can you come up here? You want to say hi? No. Okay, but I'm gonna let her. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. We're back.
What I was saying on the injury thing is Makuba worries me because I think he's really talented, and I think they're hoping that he's the right guy to come in and help solidify the secondary. Mm-hmm. Small-framed players at every position are at risk, and he's a small-frame safety. That was the biggest worry of taking him in the second round was just his frame, his size. He came into camp hurt, then had a really nice game last week, and everybody got fired up. I'm really hoping, there's plenty of time before week 1 to recover from a soft tissue injury, but you hate when it happens to a rookie because he needs every rep he can get.
Yeah, and it sounds like he was just really getting momentum too.
He had a hell of a game last week, and again, there's still. I watch Vic Fangio's press conferences every chance I get. He's just funny. He's like me.
You guys, and you know what? He reminds me of Pop sometimes too.
He's a crusty old dude. He kind of smiles like he knows something that everybody else doesn't.
Yeah, and he usually does.
And he does.
Yeah.
But he's very pretty open with what he says, and he's saying that other cornerback position is wide open still. I thought Kaylee Ringo was going to grab that thing. The one practice I went to, I thought he looked like a different guy. I thought he looked like a better player, a more mature player. He struggled week 1, but against Cincinnati, let's face it, Cincinnati's got 2 of the best wideouts in football. it sounded like Vic was more pissed off that he didn't make the tackle, not as pissed off that, one of the elite players in the league caught a pass on him.
So the details that matter to Vic Fangio.
And that's Vic. Yeah. Like, do your job. And last year, he didn't even play Nolan Smith because he wasn't tough enough against the run. And until Nolan Smith changed that whole thing, he didn't play. And Vic is kind of telling his whole defensive backfield, if you don't tackle, you don't play. And then at the end of the conference, it was really funny. You ought to look at it. One of the reporters asked Vic, well, what about Cooper DeJean? Will we ever see him outside at corner? And he said, you better take a look today. So Cooper DeJean had an unreal year as a nickel last year. They're using him in base as safety, which I think could be his best position. But he played corner in college. And, I think Vic is going, hell, if I'm not happy with all those other options, I'll put Coop outside a corner. But then, Lee, what happens is Makuba's got to be around. He's got to be available. They're going to need Makuba, whether it's at nickel, which he can play, or at safety. But the bottom line, what's best for the Eagles, Lee, is if one of those corners steps up and takes the job this week. I think they want Kaylee Ringo, Adoree Jackson, but let's face it, why did they make the trade for Jacorian Bennett? Because they weren't happy with the competition out there opposite Quinyon Mitchell. So that job's wide open.
Okay, so then tell me what the rest of the defensive schemes are looking like.
What do you mean?
Going into the end of camp, what do the nickel and dime packages, what do they look like depending on who's around? The rest of their defense.
You mean with the Eagles?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like most teams, Lee, the Eagles only play their base package on defense about, pick a number, 20 to 30% of the time. Okay. So for the most part, they're going to have 4 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs, right? The 4 defensive linemen will be a rotation. And, that crazy defensive tackle, Jalen Carter, will be the most important piece of it. His college teammate from Georgia will be the other defensive tackle. They traded away the kid from Stanford, Booker, in the one trade. So really, what they're going to end up having is a rotation at defensive tackle and at least 3 or 4 different guys coming in at defensive end in the nickel and dime.
So how is Jihad Campbell looking, our first round pick?
Jihad Campbell's a dude. You can just watch him jogging around and you go, dude.
Dude.
He looks
so far he's performing as the Eagles thought he would. He is who they thought he is.
Oh yeah, he's got a long way to go to learn to play off the ball linebacker in the NFL. It's a completely different conversation. Let's face it. Let's hope Zach Bond starts getting the reps he needs and plays the way he did last year, because that was game-changing for the Eagles. So if he can do that, then who's opposite him? I think you want Jihad Campbell to be that guy. Okay, he's like we said, he's a different kind of dude, and he can rush the quarterback. So there's a total package you can develop with Campbell that's different than all the rest of the linebackers. So that's really cool. Nakobe Dean, what's he going to end up doing at linebacker? Trotter has been getting some reps, but at the end of the day, I think what you want is Baum and Jihad Campbell. That's who you want in there most of the time for the Eagles defense. And then we've talked about the defensive backs. It really, I think Quinyon Mitchell and Coop, the 2 guys from last year, along with Blankenship.
Blankenship, yeah.
They're the 3 guys about. And then it's who's going to step up. Is it Sidney Brown? Is it Makuba at safety? And then we already talked about the corner battle. So really, I think most of the battles, I think the guys up front are going to be a really good rotation, the defensive tackles and the defensive ends. It comes down to who's the linebacker opposite Bond, and then what do those other 2 positions on the back end look like?
Okay. So final week of camp, Everyone just do your job. Make the team. There's still some spots available, right? But here's the thing. It's just like real life, I feel. I hate this week for kids because you're literally fighting for a job. If you're following me on social media, you know that I just moved to LA, thought I had a job fell through, so I was freaking out. I wish that more job sites were using ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter finds amazing candidates for you and fast. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Just ditch the other hiring sites and let ZipRecruiter find what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. I just hate that everyone is searching for jobs right now, and that is on the field and off the field. So, Dad, we talked a lot about everyone fighting for their jobs on defense. Let's talk about offense and the new looking wide receiver room. So tell us what's going on there.
Well, obviously the big trade, Howie's just freaking amazing because, you know, he trades for a corner who just started for the Raiders a year ago. Then he trades for Metchie. He gives up a backup tight end who they picked up in the offseason. And what I love about Metchie, when he came at Lee, just so everybody understands the Metchie thing.
Yeah.
He was a second-round pick in 2022 out of Alabama. December of 21, he tears his ACL.
Mm-hmm.
I forget if it was their bowl game or a regular season game, but he tears his ACL at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He still becomes a second-round pick of Houston.
Yep.
And then he finds out he's got leukemia. He beats leukemia, but misses the entire 22 season. He's out for 18 months. Okay. So he comes back in 23, plays most of the games, but only has, 16, 18 catches. Last year, he had 24 catches. But this is a kid coming off cancer, and he's only 25 years old. Second-round pick. I remember his tape from Alabama. Explosive, bigger kid, thicker kid than, say, the guy from Penn State they traded for last year, Dotson, who's their number 3 guy.
Dotson, yeah.
So I love everybody knows who 1 and 2 is, you know,
yeah.
And you and I both think that Smith is every bit as good as AJ
Brown. Yeah,
I
know. We're Mayocks are a Devontae Smith fan club. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in lockstep on that whole thing, which is rare, by the way.
Very rare. You guys have no idea how rare it is for my father and I to be in lockstep with anything. I think we have 2 things right now: Devontae Smith fan club, Zach Bond fan club, and Vic Fangio is the man. Yeah. That's pretty much the 3 things in life that we agree on. If we're trying to work on some others, we're really far in negotiations on most other things.
Yeah,
we'll let you know if we get anywhere.
We're a lot closer on the Eagles than we are on most things.
Big facts right there.
Yeah. So what I love about Howie,
John Metchie, and Howie.
Howie drops this little wild card right in the middle of the wide receiver room. And he says, basically what he's saying is, I love my first 2 guys. Dotson, you got to keep playing, brother. You want to be 3? You know, you came on a little bit at the end. You want to be 3? Watch out. Here comes Metchie. And he's saying to Johnny Smith, you know, who's had a good camp and now is hurt. And what about Anais Smith? What was he, 4th or 5th round pick a year ago? You know, hey, we're only probably going to keep 5. And that's 6 right there. There's a couple of guys I think they'd love to sneak through, I'm guessing, to the practice squad, like the kid Cooper. He's been fun to watch. Darius Cooper. Elijah Cooks has been fun to watch. They got a couple of those guys that are cool. But Johnny Wilson and Anais Smith are the 2 guys, along with Dotson, that better kind of be ready for Metchie to get dropped.
Did you say Johnny Smith? Do you mean Johnny Wilson?
I just corrected it.
Okay.
Yeah, Johnny Wilson the last time. There's a lot of Smiths there.
I know. And Johnny's. There's Johnny's and a lot of Johnny's.
I know. I meant Johnny Wilson.
Yeah.
To me, Johnny Wilson, to me, his body type, he's like a big tight end.
He's like 6'7" or something.
and he's thick. I mean, I don't know how tough a kid he is because I haven't watched that kind of tape on him. But to me, he's almost a guy you could move to tight end. And I'm wondering if in the back of Howie's mind, moving Harrison Bryant in that trade might open up a potential roster spot for Johnny Wilson down the road as a potential tight end. But that's just kind of my GM brain going,
Yeah.
I wonder.
Now that I say it, now that I think of it, maybe this is the strategy.
Well, maybe down the road a little bit. It would all depend on whether or not he's physical enough to block inside as opposed to just outside. So
okay, something to look for.
Yeah,
maybe. If he's okay. He got carted off. I hate that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so the way the Eagles are set up right now, do you agree with FanDuel having them tied in a 3-way tie for Super Bowl contenders for this year? It's Eagles, Bills, and Ravens at plus 700, and then they have Chiefs plus 800, and then it's like it goes a little bit higher. I think it's plus 1,200 for like the Lions or something, or Washington, similar one of those. Do you agree with that kind of initial matchup?
I think the most talented teams in the league from a personnel perspective are probably the Eagles and the Ravens. Okay.
But don't we always say that the Ravens are the most talented personnel situated, and then
I've said for the last 3 years it's been the Eagles.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I think this year I look at the Eagles and the Ravens and say, wow, they're both loaded. Mm-hmm. I think what's really interesting, Lee, is to kind of break it up into Super Bowl by AFC, NFC.
Okay.
For instance, the best 4 quarterbacks in football, who I call the franchise quarterbacks, are all in the AFC. Mm-hmm. And they have the misfortune, 3 of them have the misfortune to play at the same time as Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. So they've been to what?
The misfortune is funny.
Well, they've been to what? I mean, if you go, like I'm a little bit of an NFL historian. If you go back into the 1960s and 70s and 80s, or
you keep going back to the 60s and 70s.
Well, I mean, when I was a kid, that's what I did. I watched and read books about it, and as nerdy as that sounds, that's what I did. I played ball, and I dreamt about the NFL. I wasn't even sure. I might be an NBA player, I was thinking at that time.
I could have told you weren't going to be an NBA player. But it's good to have dreams.
Well, I mean, one of us got recruited more than the other in basketball. So
me?
No.
Yes.
No.
They just handed out recruitment like candy back then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, continue. So, all right. You're going by your franchise quarterbacks.
So I think Kansas City's been in 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, which is
something
crazy.
Stupid. Yeah.
But throughout history, there have always been kind of dominant teams that you got to get over. If you want to get to a Super Bowl, you got to get past these guys. Mm-hmm. And for Baltimore and for Buffalo and to a lesser extent Cincinnati, because they're the other 3 teams with franchise quarterbacks.
I wonder where did they fall?
Burrow and Cincinnati got to a Super Bowl, but the other 2 haven't. So for me, the biggest storyline every year is, can either Baltimore or Buffalo get past Kansas City to the Super Bowl? That's on the AFC side.
Yeah, well, the odds on FanDuel are in their favor right now.
Well, cool, but they got to do it.
Do you think? But you're still keeping the Eagles up in there too, right?
I already told you, the Eagles and the Ravens, I think, are the 2 most talented teams in the league. And then on the NFC side, I mean, the Eagles have been to 3 of the last 7 Super Bowls.
That's also so crazy.
Right.
And how lucky are we that it's in our lifetime?
Well, I hope Eagles fans remember that. We're the ones
they boo.
We're the ones that kicked Andy Reid out of town after 5 or 6 NFC championship games, and he's going to the Super Bowl.
Brutal, yeah.
But so the Eagles have been to 3 of the last 7. Mm-hmm. San Francisco's been to 2, mm-hmm. and the Rams, surprisingly enough, have been to 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would make a case they have been the 3 most consistent teams in the NFC, but here comes Detroit, which is really cool. Here comes Washington with maybe the next franchise quarterback, which has been really cool.
They're really giving Washington Commanders a lot of credit, I feel. Have them all the way up there? That's crazy to me.
Who,
Maybe
me?
I'm used to not liking them, so I'm biased. But
I did their 2 playoff wins last year for Westwood.
yeah,
So I was in the building. So they had to go on the road. They went down to Tampa and they beat Baker Mayfield in Tampa. And every time in the second half they had to make a play, that friggin' Jaden Daniels made a play. Nothing was too big for him. And then they go to Detroit, which is crazy how loud it was inside that building. I love being there that night. And this kid, Jaden Daniels, just was like, this is mine. and they ripped him up offensively. So I love Jaden Daniels. They got Laramie Tunsil in the offseason, a left tackle. They got the wideout from the 49ers who also can play running back. I think they're loaded.
I know it scares me a little bit. Speaking of NFC teams that I'm somewhat scared about, I'm getting less and less afraid of the Cowboys. That is the Eagles' first game is against the Cowboys coming up. Big controversy around Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons. I feel like you have a lot of, you actually surprisingly have a lot of opinions on how this was handled and is being handled. Please tell us. You always tell Rich Eisen, so you better tell us.
Well, Jerry Jones does things differently to start with, right? And that doesn't mean any of us, including me, have to agree with how he does it. However, it bothered me when I thought he disrespected the player publicly. About a month ago, he came out and kind of questioned how many games he was available for. And I went back and looked up, and he's played almost every game for the 4 years he's been there. He had a nick or a knack here and there, but the kid showed up.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he's the most disruptive front line player in the NFL. Like, he's different. He's special. He's 26 years old. And I understand business, but what I don't understand is disrespecting your best player. I don't get that publicly. That shouldn't be part of any negotiation. I don't like that. I hope
agree.
they get it done.
We're agreeing on something again.
Really?
Yeah. I'll co-sign that one.
Okay. Well,
baby steps.
So I don't know what's going on there.
Do you think it would be insane if they weren't to come to an agreement, right? We would have never seen anything like that, really.
If they what?
If they don't come to an agreement. Is there any world in which that really could happen?
Here's the hard part for the player. Okay? And I really feel badly for Trey Hendrickson, who's the same position in Cincinnati, but he's going to turn 31 years old.
Yeah.
Often, the way the CBA sets up in the NFL, it ultimately, so you can say a player, I'll hold out. You can say that all you want.
Yeah.
But if you don't show up by week 10, the NFL tolls your contract, which means it goes right back to where it was this year. So you don't get a year of credit. You don't get paid. So Micah Parsons is going to make, if he doesn't sign, if they don't do a new deal, Micah Parsons will make $24 million or so on his fifth year option, right?
Yeah.
So Jerry Jones is basically saying to himself, if he doesn't sign that, is he really going to sit out at age 26, one of his prime years, and not play and not make $25 million? So he can play and be pissed off at me, but I'm going to get him for $25 million, and then next year I'll franchise him. And he'll be playing for me again for about 30-something million. Both years are underneath what his contract value is, and if I'm able to do that, I win, which I don't really think he's thinking, but that's what the player and the agent are thinking in the back of their minds. Like, if I don't show up and play, do I really want to forfeit $25 million?
No.
At age 26? No. So his only recourse really is either negotiate a deal, and Jerry's sitting there going, yeah, come to me. and I know what the deal needs to be. I mean, T.J. Watt signed with Pittsburgh, and he did a deal where the first 3 years, which is rare, were fully guaranteed at $108 million. That's so rare. Okay.
Yep.
So 3 of the 4 or 5, whatever the extension was, are guaranteed. Max Crosby got 2 full years guaranteed. And really the 3rd year is practically guaranteed because of a trigger in the contract. So that's a long way of saying that if Max Crosby and TJ Watt are getting 2 to 3 years fully guaranteed at a number at $108 million, what do you think this kid wants? He's 26. He's the youngest of the 3. Okay. He's the most disruptive of the 3. Mm-hmm. So if I'm him and his agent, I want 3 years guaranteed at more than $108 million.
Yeah.
Right?
Sounds fair to me.
So is Jerry going to do that? I don't know. But Jerry can also squat on that contract and say, too bad, big boy, you better come play.
I see, this is so crazy. And that was actually really interesting to me. But I see this as like the battle of 2 completely opposite generations. And I think what Jerry, and maybe I'm completely wrong on this, but I think Jerry might be having a little oversight for the fact that like a lot of these young players now come into these teams with money. Like NIL deals, they have money. The brand deals now are crazy. Like Micah Parsons has his podcast and he has his brand deals. I think some of these people might be overestimating the need to play. Like, oh, I have to play. Like I live and breathe and die playing football. Micah might be okay putting his feet in the sand. Do you think?
So let me ask you, Miss Younger Generation, even though you're
thanks.
even though you're 10 to 12 years older than Micah Parsons, let me ask you.
Don't overage me, but okay, what? Ask me.
I didn't.
Okay, what?
In Micah's shoes,
yeah.
Are you really willing to walk away from $25 million?
How many dollars does he already have? A lot.
No.
Honestly,
he's playing. Remember, he's been playing on a rookie contract.
But like, think about what he came with NIL and brand deals and his podcast.
There weren't NIL deals.
There weren't. He was post NIL. He wasn't
pre-NIL.
Oh, he was pre-NIL. Okay. That makes it way more tough. And
okay, little Miss Generation, go ahead. You tell me about it.
No, that makes it tougher. I thought he came. So my whole theory is that I think guys are different. The younger generations are different. They're coming in with money. They're not desperate. Like before, it's like I need to play hard so I can make my money, put food on the table, like have a good life. Now these kids are coming in with more money than some of the players on the team already. And that changes a lot of things. Also, I think a lot of the younger generations are seeing what these injuries and this tough game does to people's bodies and are a little less inclined to just put their body on the line for money that they already have. I don't know. I think they see different money opportunities in different ways that are maybe helpful towards their longevity or a different career path. I don't know. I'm just seeing less and less of these guys that are like, I'm built to be a football player. I'm just, all I care about is football. Like I'm seeing a lot less of them. Or maybe they're just quieter. I don't know.
I mean, obviously I haven't been a GM since 21. So I've been out, almost 4 years now.
Whoa, it feels shorter.
But I felt like when it came to eat the kids in 2021, they were no different than I was in 1980.
Okay.
I was stunned. I expected a different attitude.
What I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, I expect, but I think, Lee, what it comes down to is like if you're Caitlin Clark, just because you're making all this money on your brand and all the rest of it, basketball's still at your core and competition. At your core.
I see. So and with her, she's like a eat, breathe, live, die basketball. She's obsessed with basketball. But
I think if you're going to play in a professional sport, you can be professional about your injuries and making sure you get a second opinion. And they do that. They all get second opinion. And that's
as they
smart.
should. Yeah.
I agree. I like that. Mm-hmm. But at its core, man, most of them don't get to a professional league unless they're really competitive. And the drive is internal to drive for a championship.
Yeah, you do have to have it.
You get with your teammates and there's this whole positive vibe about we got to go and you're all in.
So that was also weighing on me when you asked me what I would do if I were Micah. I think it would also depend on my relationship with my teammates.
And he's holding in, which means he's there every day.
Trying. Yeah, he's there. Which I respect that too. I mean, I know it's like another type of strategy, but
he's also.
What would you do?
There's also different rules.
Yeah.
If you hold in versus if you hold out, and if you hold in, like he's doing, like I was just quoting all those rules about, holding out, but holding in, it's even tougher on the player. Like they can literally, if you're deemed healthy and you don't perform services, they can literally say you're done for the year. They can shut your contract off right away. So you really, if you're a hold-in, you have even less. You're even more restricted. Now, would the club say, sorry, week one? I think you have 5 or 6 days or something to play. I forget what the rules are. But
okay, there's
a window where if you don't play, the club can then say you're done. And really, is any club going to say, Micah Parsons, you're done? Because they need him to play to win. But so it makes it even harder on the player.
What would you do if you were Micah?
If I was Micah?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be telling my agent basically the numbers I just told you. Like, let's go get these numbers. This is what I'll play for. I want to be here, and let's go. And I don't know if Jerry's, see, the one thing we don't know, Lee, is we don't know what actual numbers have been negotiated back and forth.
We also don't know what's going on in Jerry's mind. I don't think anyone ever knows.
Jerry kind of hung his hat on a private conversation he had with Micah.
Yeah, I read
months ago. And I don't get that either, because if a player has a contract, then nothing's binding. Right. And Jerry made a comment like, well, I bought the Dallas Cowboys on a handshake. And
on a napkin or something. Cool.
Yeah, and 50 years ago, whatever, that's fine. I get it. But if a player has an agent, no. The agent has to parse everything, and he represents the player. So we're just not privy to what has or hasn't been offered.
Yeah, this is tough. I kind of hate it. I think I hate it. I want it to be fair for Micah. I want him to be able to play, and I want him to feel respected and appreciated as the player and the person that he is. Monetarily. It's just fair. That's fair. I don't know. Is that a small violin that you're playing? Okay, whatever. All right. Well, I think we've hit our limit for Cowboys talk on this podcast. But going into, just to wrap it up a little bit, because we've been all over the place, but going into this last preseason game, what should fans be looking for in terms of, what are we looking for to finalize this roster, people to show out? What are we looking at?
One thing we haven't talked about, and I don't even think he's playing this week, is the backup quarterback and
Tanner?
how well Tanner McKee has.
Dad, he's killing it. He has a finger injury right now, though, so I don't think I think they're trying to be conservative there.
Yeah, I think they're going to play the St. Joe kid, McCord and DTR the whole game, and I don't blame them. But one of the things that's hard about that is after this game, there's literally plus or minus 3 weeks until opening season for most teams. It's crazy. Yeah. Well, it's a long time, right? So if you don't play your starters or any of them this week, it like what's today? Today is the 19th or something.
19th, yeah.
So if you get into the 21st or 22nd, whatever it is, and then you got to get out to, it's 10 days to the end of the month, and then so the Eagles would be 14 days or so, 15 days until the Cowboys, right? Because they open the season.
Yep.
Other teams are like 17, 18 days away. That's a long time.
Yeah.
So it's hard on the coaches to kind of figure out, how do we play this game? I think the quarterback we just talked about has been lights out. Like
Tanner McKee, yeah.
I hear all the stuff about, Shedeur Sanders and how well he played week one, and I'm like, this freaking kid, Tanner McKee, played lights out last preseason as a 6th-round pick, started a regular season game against the Giants and played really well, and has been lights out this preseason. So Tanner McKee, man, he's been really cool. I think Lee, the biggest thing, and we haven't talked about it, but we've already kind of talked the whole defensive thing. I think the offensive line is the biggest conversation.
Yeah, so Landon Dickerson obviously injured a couple weeks ago, so we weren't potting at the time. You were still on your hiatus, so we didn't get into that. But hoping he's back for week 1.
But, yeah, Kenyon Green was out, and you mentioned another injury today.
Tyler Steen has been killing it, is what I said. Yeah.
I think you mentioned another injury in the line, didn't you, or am I wrong?
No.
Who was the other injury you mentioned today?
Today? No, that Johnny Wilson and Makuba.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
wait, how about Tyler Steen?
What's that?
How about Tyler Steen?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the tape of their first game, the first half, and I thought he played well. I thought the offensive line played well. I just think when that's kind of the engine that makes you go, the run game, protecting your quarter, like that offensive line is so critical. And thank God for Jeff Stoutland.
Yeah.
Because his development of the guys behind the starters is amazing.
Yeah.
I loved what I saw from the 3 rookie draft pick offensive linemen. I thought the backup, the center, Drew Kendall from Boston College, surprised me how good he was.
Are you just saying that?
No, I'm not.
You are wearing he is wearing a Boston College hat right now. So
yeah. No,
let's take that with a grain of salt.
That's fair. I thought he did a hell of a job. And the kid from Michigan, Miles Hinton, he's a talented kid. And down the road, he'll be good. Okay. But week 1, the bigger concern is just who's going to be the starting 5. And can they run the ball like they did last year? What adjustments are other teams going to make to stop the run, force Jalen to hold on to the football? So I think you're looking at for this week, who are the backup offensive linemen playing? How well do they play? That wide receiver deal behind the top 2 guys, how do those guys play? How quickly can Metchie get into because you're not going to make a trade and then cut the guy.
No.
I don't think. Yeah. So if Metchie's going to be there, how do the other guys respond? I think that's important. And then really, no injuries. Let's get out of it.
Well, fingers crossed for no injuries across the board, please, everyone.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's exciting. We will be back to talk again after week 1, I think. Cool.
Sounds good, Lee.
All right. Thanks, Dad.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.